for June 7th, 2023 at about 6:05. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic that stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming. We have a very exciting meeting today. Second item is approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda? Moved by Sammy, second by Bob. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And we also do have another member who is online. Dr. Darcy is online. Item number 3, we have some presentations and recognitions tonight. And we're going to start with our high school reporters recognition. Mrs. Stone, Deb, let's start.
I'll start because this is also the night we usually introduce you to our new board reporters for the next year. But knowing that we may go a little bit of a different direction to make sure that all of my colleagues get ample opportunity at the mic with their learners next year. We're not going to introduce them to you tonight. We're going to hold that in our back pocket for however we go next year. And then in the true nature of these 3, they came in this morning and they don't even come to meet with us anymore. And they say, confirming the meetings at 6? Yes, Christine, will you let them all know? Of course. And we have our reports ready. Do you want to hear them? I'm like, no. We're going to say them anyway. I said, okay, I'll let you. They want to wrap up the year. They take their jobs very seriously. So I'm going to have them do that first. And then, of course, you may recognize their service to the board this year. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'll be reporting on sports for the last time. So girls outdoor track got 2nd at Shorelines and 5th at Class S States. And then also our 4x1 team got 4th place at State Open. So they will be advancing to the New England Championships to represent Connecticut and Bangor, Maine this Saturday. And we also have 5 players headed to nationals. So we've had a pretty good postseason. Then boys outdoor track scored a 3rd place finish at Shorelines and 12th place finish at States. And we had many new PRs and 2 players are headed off for nationals. Junior tennis player Piper Remillard competed on Monday at the 2023 CIAC Invitational Girls Tennis Tournament beginning today at Wesleyan University and is seeded number 12 and is our Shoreline champion. And she also just celebrated a 50 consecutive wins, so that's a big accomplishment. And then boys golf traveled with a team of 5 golfers to compete in the CIC Division III tournament at Stanley Golf Course in New Britain, Connecticut yesterday. Baseball got to the 2nd round of Class S States. And then softball got to the 2nd round of Class S States as well in a tough loss against North Branford. And girls lacrosse, which is Class L co-op with Middletown, finished their season with 1 game of states and an 8-7 ratio, which is their best in the team's history. And then the finals, I think the final tennis matches were supposed to be today, but they might have been postponed due to the smoke today. And then lastly, last night we held the 2023 Spring Sports Banquet, and each spring sport had a private team session before going to the auditorium, where we had team recaps and individual students were recognized for benchwarmers, coaches, and MVP awards. And we also had our unified sports and robotics teams included in last night's ceremony. So that was a fun change and made more inclusive for everyone. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, there isn't too much to report on in music, but we had our final concerts for the year. So there was the jazz concert, the chamber winds and chamber choir concert, Memorial Day, which you probably saw, our bands marching. And then very recently we had the band and chorus concert. And then this past Monday, we had the music awards, followed by our little ice cream party at the end. And really the only other thing coming up is that some of the choir and some of the band will be performing the national anthem at graduation. And that's pretty much it. So.
All right, as we close out the year for student life, students are enjoying ice cream and parties almost every day. Prom on May 13th was a fun success, followed quickly by our pilot year's capstone presentations. We inducted 22 new members to the National Honor Society who will continue in leadership and service to better our school and greater community in the next year. Last Thursday, students from 4 different classes, Art Foundations, Backstage, Ocean Exploration, and Fashion Marketing, collaborated to create an art installation showcasing the global issue of plastics in our oceans. I know a fair amount of you came to see it. It was an auditorium stunning event. Under the guidance from Ms. Schilling, Mrs. Francis, Mr. Bothamley, and Mr. Doneker, students created some jellyfish that were like 8 feet in diameter. There were corals and under the sea props covering the stage floor, and a gorgeous dress created by the fashion marketing students entirely made of plastics. And then in the front, we had some videos of the sea bins that the ocean exploration kids studied and worked to create to call attention to and potentially solve the problem of microplastics in our waters. Also last Thursday, the CRHS Scholarship Committee graciously awarded many of the graduating class members scholarships from local community and local community groups, sorry. Students celebrated academic successes at the award ceremony on the following Friday. And afterwards, our senior class gathered at Allen Brook for a picnic to celebrate the end of the year. Today, the Spanish Honor Society hosted an ice cream party for all students to attend, which was a blast. And a week from today, we will be graduating RSD13.
All right.
So I'm sure you'd like them all to stand.
Yeah.
I know Mrs. Petrella would like to address you.
On behalf of the Board of Education, I'd like to extend a sincere thank you to all three of you, Hayden, Christine, and Catherine, for all the time and effort that you put in this past year to give us updates on the music program, on the sports program, and on student life at the high school. We wish you all the best as you continue on to other adventures and your experiences at college and beyond. And we have a little something for you. And this is our resident artist who put all this in.
And they all have other commitments, so we're gonna let them go.
Yes,
Sorry, they're really busy.
that's okay. Okay, the next recognition is the CAVE Leadership Award recipients and
We'll start with the middle school, if that's okay.
Redlands, okay, yep.
And before I present the awards, I would just like to explain what they're getting an award for. It's a CAVE award. It's the Connecticut Association of Boards of Education. And this year I asked teachers to give me 2 8th graders who exemplify this criteria. This criteria also applies for the high school students as well. But leadership skills should include willingness to take on challenges, capability to make difficult decisions, concern for others, ability to work with others, willingness to commit to a project, diplomacy, which is important, ability to understand issues clearly, and ability to honor a commitment. So this is the criteria that we chose 2 students from Strong Middle School. I will start with TJ. You want to come on up here, TJ, and say nice things about you. Here is TJ Walensky. He is an 8th grader. His parents are Danielle and James Walensky. What his teacher said about him is that TJ consistently has a great attitude no matter what situation he is confronted with. He is kind, compassionate, and has the ability to motivate his peers to rise up when challenged. He participates in several sports, babysits, and is an active volunteer at his church. He has shown tremendous growth and maturity as he has progressed through middle school. So congratulations, TJ.
And it says here, the Connecticut Association of Boards of Ed awards the Student Leadership Award to TJ Walensky Strong Middle School for distinguished leadership in school activities and daily life, awarded this 12th day of April 2020.
Been a while. And then our second award goes to Julia Reynolds. Come on up, Julia. Eighth grade student at Strong Middle School. Her parents are Michelle and Stephen Reynolds. And the teacher said about Julia, she is a strong leader in and out of the classroom, and she has a delightful way. I loved that word. She has a delightful way of organizing, motivating, and praising her peers. She participated in the Witness Stone program, is involved with the Care Club, and is active in chorus and theater. She excels in the classroom and beyond. Congratulations.
As well. It says the Connecticut Association of Boards of Ed awards the Student Leadership Award to Julia Reynolds, Strong Middle School, for distinguished leadership in school activities and daily life. It was actually awarded the 12th day of April, 2023, but we'll give it to you today.
Dalton, come on up. Now, what's funny about Dalton is when I had him back at Corn, he stood about this high. I want to see Dalton, I have to do this. A little uncomfortable, but I'll make it work. Dalton was one of our two recipients at College Regional High School. His mom is Karen Buckley and his dad, Toby Bates. Dalton is highly respected by his teachers and classmates and is viewed as a leader among his peers. He has taken demanding course load, including honors, UConn, and AP classes. He has been recognized for his academic achievements with his induction to the National Honor Society and the Spanish Honor Society. His involvement in extracurricular activities is also impressive. He's a talented athlete who's a member of the varsity football and track team and also plays rugby outside of school. And his rugby team just made it to state championships. They told me tonight, so I have it in my speech. Dalton's also a member of the Ocean Bowl team and helped his team make it to nationals last year. He is planning to study biomedical sciences on a pre-med track, and it has always been interested in the STEM field. He's been involved in Boy Scouts since he was very young and earned the honor of Eagle Scout. Dalton's strong leadership skills and commitment to helping others are evident throughout our school community. Congratulations, Dalton.
So the Connecticut Association of Boards of Education awards the Student Leadership Award to Dalton Bates, Hawkinshaw Regional High School, for distinguished leadership in school activities and daily life, awarded this 12th day of April, 2023, and presented today. Is that good?
Our second student wasn't able to make it this evening. I don't see her here. So Monica Garbaz, whose parents are Joanna and Lucas Garbaz. I'm just going to read quickly about her, even though she's not here. Monica is a remarkable young woman of the utmost character. She emulates our district's core ethical values, has great academic performance, and is taking the most challenging courses offered at our high school, consisting also of honors, AP, and UConn. She has been recognized for her academic accomplishments by receiving such awards as the Women's Society of Engineers for Excellence in Math and Science. She's also dedicated to her extracurricular activities. She's a member of the swim team and the tennis team. Music has played a significant role in Monica's life. She plays in the concert band, pep band, and participated in the Shoreline Music Festival. Monica speaks both English and Polish and acts as the president of the French Honor Society. Monica is a member of the student body government, where she serves as secretary. She is bright, ambitious, and an exceptional young woman. So congratulations to Monica, and I'll make sure she does.
Our next recognition goes to the student who received the Board of Education Scholarship Award. That was presented to Charlotte Dunleavy. Is she here? Yes, she's okay. Okay. Charlotte is a remarkable young woman of the utmost character. She encapsulates our district's core ethical values of respect, responsibility, courage, honesty, and kindness on a daily basis. She's a dedicated student who always puts forth her best effort. Charlotte is a leader both in the classroom and on the athletic field. She's a member of the Athletic Leadership Council and the varsity soccer team. She truly understands the meaning of being a team player. She is quick to help her classmates, cares about the welfare of others, and is supportive of her teammates. Her positive attitude, admirable work ethic, and perseverance, both on and off the field, is highly impressive. Congratulations. How exciting. I think we should have another round of applause. Okay. And now we go to item number 4, which is public comment. Do we have anyone here? Sorry, thank you, retirees.
Thank you, Lucy. Each year, we recognize longstanding employees who've chosen to retire after many years in the district. This year, we have 5 retirees who have joined us for this recognition. I would like to start off with Noelle Durkin, who will recognize current 5th grade teacher Carl Bruin. Now, Carl has worked for 3 different principals, at least, each of whom are in this room. So we're going to triple team him a little bit. And leading off, our leadoff hitter is Mrs. Durkin. Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, affectionately known as King Bruin at Memorial School, Carl has been reigning at Memorial and within Region 13 for about 31 years. I knew that he had been here for quite a long time, but tonight I found out he began his student teaching at Brewster School. He then worked at Lyman School for 1 year when he decided this was going to be, in his words, the greatest career ever, because he was incredibly welcomed and supported the minute he joined Region 13. Since then, he's been at Memorial School as the general education teacher and has spent a majority of the time teaching social studies. When speaking with the students about Mr. Bruin, one student really had a great comment to make. He said, if Mr. Bruin retires, who would ever teach us about all of the heroes and villains of history? Because that's what he does every day. And I said, I know it is big shoes to fill when you're trying to fill King Bruin's shoes. Now I'm going to turn it over.
So he had no idea that we all had a little something to say. This is like his worst nightmare, just so you know. I didn't prepare a speech for Carl because I worked with Carl for about 6 years, maybe 7. My favorite memory of Carl is one of the first, I don't know, weeks he came in. It might have been a little bit of a tough transition. And he came in my office and he asked me a question. I started to cry. And he looked at me, he said, what do I do now? And I said, nothing, you just let me cry. And when I'm done, I'll be fine. And he's like, okay. But that's Carl. Like, you could really hand him anything and he takes it and he makes sure everyone else is okay first. And we had a pact when we were at Memorial, we were going to retire at the same time. I think Jen Keene was supposed to come with us. And now he's leaving without me. And he claimed that I actually left him. And I was like, it's kind of like a divorce. That's true. I did up and leave one day, right? Really, pretty much. So Carl, I'm so happy for you. So sad for the district, but it's a huge loss for us, but you're going to do great things. I know you're not really leaving, but sort of leaving, but congratulations.
This is cameo. They didn't even know it was happening. The year I started in District 13, Mr. Bruin was Teacher of the Year. And we had buttons for that celebration with Mr. Bruin on it. And one of my first observations as a school psychologist, a classroom observation, was in Mr. Bruin's class. And what I will say about that observation is, I don't remember the student. I might remember the student I did the observation on, but I walked out of that class and I said, man, his class is like Disney World. It's made for kids, but adults really get a lot out of it.
So I've worked with Carl for probably a lot longer than the aforementioned principals and staff members. 17 years. Let me just say that in my career, I've worked with a lot of educators and a lot of professionals. You know, and when you work for that period of time, you come up with a list of maybe the top 10, top 5. And he's on that list, and he's not on the top 10 list. He's not on the top 5 list. He's probably right up there in number 1. And for anybody who's been in Carl's classes, and I think certainly Deb and Noel and Jen will agree with me, it's kind of a special place. He has an amazing classroom presence. He cares deeply about the learners that he works with on a daily basis. He has an astounding sense of humor. And he's very committed to his subject area. And when you put all of those attributes and skills together, you have Carl Bruin. We're going to miss him as a teacher in an exceptional way. Carl not only transcends a classroom, but he transcends a building. And when you see Carl in the hallway, when you see Carl in the classroom, when you see Carl in the cafeteria doing lunch duty, it's just a better place. So we're going to miss him in the classroom, but we will see him come September. So again, I'd like to thank Deb and Noel and Jen Keene for recognizing Mr. Bruin, and I'd like to thank Mr. Bruin for all that he's done for the district and all he's done for me. Thank you. And we have Mrs. Stone up here, so we'll keep her busy. We'd like to have Deb recognize our next retiree, Kathy Zigmont. Kathy has served as a math teacher for 23 years at Coggins Regional High School. 25 years, check that. My mistake. Kathy.
I promise this is the last time I'm up here tonight. So Kathy Zigmont has been a trusted and distinguished member of the high school math department for, mine says 23 too, but that's his fault, 25 years. She served as team leader for longer than any of your current teammates can remember, which was funny to me, and only stepped away from that leadership role when she transitioned to part-time in 2019. Her coworkers truly value Kathy, both as a colleague and a friend, noting Kathy is a class act, upholding rigor and standards, who goes above and beyond to help her students. She is one of the most intelligent humans to teach at Coggins Regional High School, and we have been lucky to have her for as long as we have. She's a loyal colleague and a dedicated friend. Kathy will be remembered as someone who would always be there in times of need, as an educator who prepared her students for continued rigorous studies beyond Coggins, and as a friend you could always count on when you needed someone to listen. Also one of the best dressed math teachers I've ever met. Not today, no, it's not. Also really good for a good laugh. So on behalf of Coggins and the entire staff, congratulations, Kathy.
Now, our next retiree to be honored this evening is Ruth Dwyer. Now, Ruth had a few words spoken about her at the last Board of Ed meeting, but that was just a warm-up. This is the real deal. So I'm going to ask Mrs. Murray to come forward and recognize Ruth Dwyer.
So Ruth has been in our district for a very long time, much longer than I have been with Ruth. So I don't feel I can probably give her justice, but I will do my best to recognize the absolute splendor that she brings to Brewster School, and that will be missed greatly. So I'm highly honored to deliver our farewell speech to our very beloved colleague and our Brewster family member, Ruth Dwyer. Ruth began her teaching career in 1987 as the first art teacher at Corn and Brewster School. She spent her entire career
cultivating artists here in RSD13 and continued on after Corn School closed at Brewster School for the remainder of her career. It's not over yet, June 14th. I had the pleasure of meeting Ruth for the first time at one of her legendary art shows in May, prior to beginning my principalship at Brewster School in 2019. She was the first staff member I met at Brewster School, and she set the bar with her calm, caring, welcoming demeanor. The art that was displayed in the halls was overwhelming. I was truly in awe of the ability she had shown to support learners to produce such beautiful pieces of art. As I began my time at Brewster School, I quickly learned that Ruth's calm, caring, and welcoming demeanor trended in everything that she did. She often was described as the Zen teacher. I was lucky enough to join several of her circles that she created with her classes throughout the years. Her learners were ever so excited to have a turn with a talking stick and sharing their thoughts, concerns, reactions about art and SEL. She's always created an artist environment that's inclusive and enjoyed by all. Many learners come back over the years to her art shows and express their fond memories of the time spent in Ruth's classes. Ruth Dwyer has been a model for our school community and has brought the art of learning to life in her student-centered classroom. She has been an integral member of her related arts team. And not just at Brewster School, but at the district level as well. Ruth is a highly respected colleague. She can be found at any given team meeting, offering her support, sharing ideas, or delivering a good punchline. We will miss Ruth's humor. We will miss Ruth. Congratulations on your retirement, Ruth. I hope you enjoy every adventure with your family, your friends, and creating your beautiful life.
Now, we also had a couple of individuals who skipped out a little early. Those individuals are seated right over there. Sue Boudreau, who was our operations manager, and Jim Croteau, who was our facilities manager. And they never got a chance to be recognized by the Board of Education, so we're giving them the opportunity this evening. So we'd like to recognize Sue Boudreau, and doing the recognition will be Tim Newby.
So Kevin and I, we did rock, paper, scissors over whether I would do Sue or Jimmy. So I have Sue tonight, and I would love to honor them both, but I'm going to share with Kevin because he does have some longevity with them as well. So it's my pleasure to honor and recognize Sue Boudreau this evening. Sue has worked at RSD13 for over 30 years. Since 1992, Sue has served in various roles and wore many hats in the district. I had the privilege to work directly with Sue for my first and her last 5 years. Sue initially supported me in the business office and then moved on to end her career in the district as operations manager. Sue was very supportive of me when I came into the role as business manager. I asked her so many questions, and she helped me get acquainted with the district like no one else could. I had my own personal historian, and she was very, very helpful to me. She has the uncanny ability to go into the archives and come back with these dusty old papers just when I need them, and always was willing to do that. Sue, you've been around over your 30-year time span. You supported the district through technological and other advances. Did you have internet then?
A lot of floppy disks.
Sue's work ethic and dedication to the district is inspiring. She's respected by her colleagues, and she respects them. She served as a valuable resource for all district staff and students. And thank you, Sue, for all you did to serve the district and contribute to making RSD 13 thrive.
And now I'd like to recognize Jim Croto. Jim, if you could come on up for a moment, please. Now, I believe Jim started in the district in 2005 and worked in maintenance positions there as the district electrician and quickly assumed many additional responsibilities. In 2016, with the retirement of Rob Francis, Jeff was named our facilities manager for the district and served in that role until he retired in December. Just have one quick story. I was in my office one day and the printer wasn't working, and choosing to ignore IT protocols, I decided to do a little surgery on the printer myself, and my tools involved a pair of scissors, I think a pen, and a couple of other items designed to remove the cover of the printer. Working diligently for about 20 minutes, I gained no progress whatsoever, and there was a piece of paper stuck in there, and I was very rapidly getting aggravated by my degree of ineptness, I would say. Jim comes around the corner. And Jim says, so Kevin, what are you doing? Parts are all over the floor. The printer is tilted at a 45-degree angle. I said, I got a little problem with my printer, Jim. He said, oh yeah, well, let me take a look and see what I can do. So Jim saunters over to the printer, reaches down his right side and pulls out his flashlight. Now, this is no ordinary flashlight. This is a highly tuned, specially designed electrician's flashlight with laser-like focus. Jim takes out the flashlight, illuminates the flashlight. Bingo, there's a beam of light. It's like something from Star Wars. Jim goes down, tinkers with the printer for about 10 seconds. Out comes the piece of paper that was stuck. Quickly puts the printer back together again, looks at me up and down, says, Kevin, the printer's all set. Well, I said, thank you very much, Jim. And that kind of encapsulates Jim's abilities. I've worked with Jim for a long time, and I've never met a man more courteous, more professional, or more knowledgeable than Jim Croto in his field. And when he left in December, he was missed. He'll be missed for a long time in Regional School District 13. But we wanted to bring him back just to recognize him and just to identify his contributions and just say what an important part of Regional School District 13 he was for a long, long time. Thank you, Jim. And we also had some additional retirees who were unfortunately unable to be here this evening. These include Meg Smith, who's a social studies teacher at Strong School. Meg served in that role for 22 years. Pat Toth, who was a secretary at Strong School, was at Strong School for 18 years. Pat retired in December as well. Sharon Rogers was a special education teacher at Memorial School. Sharon worked for 22 years at Memorial School. Dr. Richard McCarthy, a science teacher at Strong Middle School, worked for 21 years as a science teacher at Strong. And lastly, Carol McShane, who was an ABA therapist at Memorial School. Carol also worked at Memorial School for 22 years. So let's have a round of applause for those individuals. Lord, thank you for honoring the retirees for Regional School District 13. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, and good luck and wish you all the best. If you retire, it's a very special time. Takes a little while to feel like you're retired, although you gotta do it. You gotta head start. And it takes a while.
Yeah, Lucy, they look pretty acclimated there.
Yes, they do. They do. 10 years when you retired. Awesome. Thank you. Please take some food There's plenty of, on the way out. Okay, item number 4 is, public comment. Do we have anyone that is here that would like to speak? Anyone here that would like to speak about agenda items? No? Is there anyone online? No? Okay. We will move to item number 5 for approval of minutes. We actually have 4 minutes, May 1st, May 10th, May 22nd, May 23rd. The board has been busy. Does anyone have any corrections or adjustments that need to be made on any of those minutes? I went through them all. I don't see anything. No, anyone else? Okay, so we would have a motion that would approve all 4 of those minutes all at once for May 1st, 2023, May 10th, 2023, May 22nd, 2023, and May 23rd, 2023. So moved. So made by Lindsay, second.
Second.
Jamie? Okay, I think we probably should have done we'll do a roll call vote because we have Linda online now. Okay, so we'll go around the table. All in favor?
Aye.
I have, Bob, I abstained on May 23rd. I wasn't able to get on it, but, for the aye.
Okay. Lindsay Dahlheimer, aye. Lucy Petrella, aye.
Jamie Rohrbach, yes. Aye.
More criminal, aye.
More. So,
That's it, I'm the only.
and, where's Maura? Where is she?
Still have enough votes.
Yeah, okay. All right, so we'll just put Mariah's abstaining because she's not here.
Here she comes.
No. Sorry. Okay, we're gonna move on to item number 6, superintendent's report.
Yes, thank you, Lucy. Just a few comments tonight. As we kind of wrap up the school year, I just want to congratulate everyone here and everyone out there who might be paying attention on a great school year. May have gone without notice, but didn't for me, probably many of you, that this was our first full year without any COVID restrictions since 2018-19. And I think that's something to celebrate and be happy about. Nice to have been talking about things in the schools and in the district and even at these meetings that didn't relate to the pandemic. Even though they all left, I also would like to give my congratulations and gratitude to our retirees, along with my hope that they are happy and fulfilled in wherever life takes them next. Next, I want to mention just how many great end-of-year activities have been taking place at all our schools recently. I know many of you have been at those. I've seen you there. Christine mentioned a few of them, but they're going on not just at the high school, but at all levels. And as she mentioned, those will continue through next week, culminating with Coggins graduation, which is 1 week from today, at about this time, 6 o'clock. And I hope that many of you can participate in graduation, either as a board member or as a parent or as a grandparent or any or all of the above. It's going to be a really special evening. And I also would like to give, again, even though they're all gone here, my own special congratulations to the members of the class of 2023. And I want to thank our high school staff, again, Deb's not here anymore, for including many of us in the capstone presentations that took place on May 16th. I was very impressed with the small group of seniors who shared career education and life plans to the adults that were in my assigned room. And I know that many of you had similar experiences. We've been blessed with an amazing group of seniors, many of whom started with us in kindergarten. And my hope for them is the same as for our retirees, that they are happy and fulfilled in wherever life takes them in the days and years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Item number 7 is staff reports. Director of Finance, Tim?
Very brief, the general fund for the end of May is 85% expended and we've received 89% of our revenue. I'm not anticipating any surplus this year. Anticipating spending the entire budget, and MTA is 56% expended and we've received 63% of our revenue. That's it.
Okay. The climate committee update, Jen. What I wanted to say about that, first of all, Jen, is I want to sincerely thank you for all the work that you put into putting this survey report together. There's a lot of information that's in this report. And there's a lot of information for the board to digest as well. So right now, Jen, I'd just like you to give us a summary of the results. And then if board members have any general questions, and then I think it might do justice to the report that perhaps, and you know, I'm going to put this out to the board, that we have a special meeting and just really digest the information and talk about it. This is just a lot that's in it.
It's a lot, yes. So it's a lot to digest. It's a lot to kind of break down into, you know, I think everybody's perspective and opinion absolutely matter as part of our community, and everything is so important. But a survey or any assessment, just like we're educators, we want our assessments to drive our instruction. We want our assessments to drive, you know, our goals and objectives as a community and as a district moving forward. And I think that in this year's climate report, I think there's a lot of pros and there's a lot of cons, right? And so I think that we have room to grow. And why I've been you know, disaggregating the data for a while. We started with the student survey report in January, and I've been giving a lot of thought to, you know, ways that we can approach the data, and ways that positive ways and proactive ways that we can grow as a district. And it's kind of, for me, this area of focus is, I'm very passionate about it. I think many people who know me know that I care deeply about the health and well-being of our students, but also our staff and our community as a whole. And so, you know, I've, as I said, I've been thinking a lot about it. So I gave you guys a ton of information. I will not go over all of that in the detail, you know, that I gave you tonight. I did do some slides just for myself, based off of all of the information that I've given you. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm also happy to expound on any of my thoughts and ideas in moving toward a healthy future for a district. And it's very important to me. And, you know, I grew up and I went into psychology because I just wanted for people to be happy. I think I chose and I wanted to share joy, and I grew up in the 70s as a little bit of a flower child, and I just thought that that's where I was going with my life. Well, psychology is a double-edged sword in that we could do a lot of great work, and I have a lot of great insight and perspectives, and there is a lot of growth that I see that needs to happen individually and collectively. And so I'm always willing, personally and professionally, to roll up my sleeves and dig in. And I would like to invite our entire community to do the same with me and dig in so that we can make District 13 and the communities of Durham, Middlefield, and Rockfall a really great place to be for our children, but also for each other. And so I'll just kind of jump in, and I think my first slide is just our mission statement, and for empowering students to thrive and contribute as global citizens in Regional School District 13. And under that are our core ethical values. of respect, responsibility, honesty, kindness, and courage. And over the last 2 months, I've had a lot of conversations with staff, administrators, parents, students about a core ethical value reboot here in district. I think that, COVID, we're post-COVID, we are post-pandemic. Mental health concerns are, we are at an all-time high state and nationally for mental health concerns for children and adults alike. And I think that trend started before COVID, but certainly the pandemic did not do us any favors in moving in a positive direction. And there are those of us that feel that, core ethical values, really bringing them back. We used to be able to ask any student at any grade level, what are our core ethical values? And they can name them like that. And I want to get back there. And I think I have commitments from all of our building principals to get us back to do that as well. And so that's my first slide. In terms of the survey report, I'm going to do the overview of the whole district report. The principals have shared or plan to share specific school reports with their building staff. All of their building staff have either been invited or will be invited to have conversations and meetings about their specific reports, because the school reports there's a lot of variability between schools. Our overall response participation rates were very low. We only had 21% of parents respond to the survey, and 64% of staff response. Excuse me, I have something in my eye. So the participation rates were low, quite low for parents. The parent survey district results, again, answers range from agree to disagree on all questions. And there seems to be just a lot of diversity in people's perspective across both surveys, the parent and the staff surveys. I just highlighted a couple of pros, and by pros, I went with the 75% and above, and for the areas of growth, I went in the 20%, 25% and below. So if you're looking at, the a normal curve, we're down at the either levels for the 25 percentile. So pros, for the parent report, school is generally clean. That's 86%. This is the highest rating on the survey for at least the last 3 cycles of the survey. So our buildings and ground staff are to be commended and lauded. They do a remarkable job. We have beautiful buildings. Even our older buildings are kept well, and the maintenance is of very high quality. So thank you to our buildings and grounds custodial staff. Most agree that they feel safe in their child's school at 84.6%. My child's school is welcoming to all people. That's 74.4%. I am well informed about my child's academic progress, 75.8%. Communication provided by my child's teacher is timely and effective, 78%. School administrators promote a positive school environment, 77%. School administrators communicate in an open and respectful manner, 77.7%. Now, on the parent survey, our areas for growth include bullying and mean behaviors are issues at my child's school, 46.6%. My child's school has effectively addressed my child's negative experience or concerns. This was a little bit below my 25% criteria, but it was at 17.2% of parents disagreed with that. And I think even any percentage, of course, in my mind is too high, but I thought that was definitely an area for growth. Students treat each other with respect regardless of race, gender identity, socioeconomic status. 25.3% of parents disagreed with this statement. School administrators demonstrate an understanding of students' needs. 23.5% of parents disagreed with that statement. The learning environment at my child's school demonstrates high standards and is engaging. And I just put that, down there because obviously we're here to educate students. And 72.5% agreed, 14.3% disagreed. But I'm not happy with the C minus in having an environment that demonstrates high standards and engaging. So that's my own personal addition to that one. For the parent written in responses, there were 46 written comments and some respondents shared multiple comments. The themes for the written comments were at the school. So we have, I just broke it out in themes rather than read all the different comments, but some of the themes were, just positive remarks, happy with our district or the school, having the support of our responsive staff. There were 16 positive comments in that realm. One person said they need after school programming. I had 2 comments that talked about students excluding other students. One comment with bullying concerns. General concerns with student behavior were 3 comments. Need to give more homework, 4 comments. We also had at least that many comments saying they don't like homework. So homework is always a hot topic and we have very strong opinions from everybody, one side or another. That's been historical in our surveys as well. 4 comments regarding parents that would like more communication. There were 3 comments that were appreciative of the Friday updates or the daily announcements at the upper grade levels. Need more support for diversity and inclusion for race, ability, medical needs, gender identification, religion, and socioeconomic concerns. We had 7 comments specific to that theme. We had need more police. There were 2 comments on that. Need more support from Board of Ed and Superintendent. There were 2 comments related to that specifically. Academics are good. 2 comments. School building needs to be updated. There was 1 comment. And my child does not like going to school. 2 separate parents made that comment. Some teachers are very good. Some teachers are not connected or concerned about students enough. 3 people said some are great, some need work in terms of teacher connection and teacher strengths. And then there was 1 comment regarding the concern with behaviors on the bus, or inappropriate bus behavior. Our staff responses, 189 staff members completed the survey. This gave us a 64% participation rate from staff. Some of the pros for staff that came out on the report: my school is generally clean, 83.1% agree. Kudos again. I feel physically safe in my school, 78.8% agree. My school is welcoming to all people, 74.1% agree. Parents and students are informed regularly about student academic progress. Staff are at a 79.9% agreement. Teachers and staff treat all students with respect, regardless of race, gender identity, socioeconomic status. The staff percentage was a 91.6% in agreement with that statement. My school encourages all families to be engaged in school activities, 77.8%. Some of our areas of growth that that were noted in the teacher surveys were bullying and mean behaviors are issues at my school. 49.7% agreed with that statement. Students treat each other with respect regardless of race, gender identity, socioeconomics, or socioeconomic status. Only 48.6% agreed with that statement. The staff write-in responses, we had 36 staff who wrote comments. Some of the respondents shared multiple comments. So the themes in the staff responses, behavioral concerns of students, consequences not being severe enough. We had 9 people respond under that theme, with concerns in that theme. Administration does not listen to staff opinions, perspective, or values some staff opinions over others. There were 13 comments related to that. More communication and connection among staff is needed. 5 comments. I love working here. We have a great team, or 11 responses. Not in favor of student-centered learning. We had 2 responses. In favor of student-centered learning, we had 4 people report that. We need more time there's too much to do, there's too much put on teachers, loss of prep time this year was a concern for them in some buildings, and 5 people responded in that theme. So what do we do? What have we done to address concerns overall? And some of this is coming out of the surveys, but some of it is also coming out of your questions from my last report last month. So we investigate all reported concerns, and under those concerns there's bullying, there's Title IX, there's Title VI, there's, risk assessments, threat assessments. So any reported concern under to administration or teachers that go to administration, there is an investigation that starts at the building level and then moves up district to the district level as needed. Again, as you know, we review all behavior and attendance concerns at the school climate level and the district climate level. We have tiered levels of SEL instruction. And again, I can go into more detail. I shared details with you. This is just the overarching summary. But if anybody wants me to go into more specific detail or has questions about what I shared with you, please let me know. We have increased counseling services across buildings this year. So our district counseling staff has an average of over 37 students per counselor on the caseload. And then we also have increased our counseling service through Community Health Center, which we have access to them for 2 full days a week now at CRHS, and Root Center is with us 5 days a week, 2 days at Strong and 3 days at Memorial School. Over the past year, we've contracted with outside agencies with specific expertise in the areas of diversity, equity, inclusion, and racial trauma. So we've done this for individual students. We have done this for counselor training. 3 of our counselors completed professional learning, professional development modules that were 17 hours long. That gave them the certificate in skills related to DEI and racial trauma. We have invested in whole district training, which we have had some discussion about. Our Aperture and DESA pilot year, all students in district K through 12 have been assessed by an adult for general SEL screening 3 times this year. So we did a pre-assessment, a mid-assessment, and the end of the year ratings for all of our kiddos in district. We added the district climate resources tab to our district website, added our student report form for electronic submission on our RSD13 website. Thank you to Julia Talbot Slagle and the CARE group for helping with that. We have tiered discipline as appropriate, which is progressive discipline in all of our schools. The update on our in-school suspension and out-of-school suspension, we had 48 total suspensions throughout this school year. One of the questions was, is that 48 different students or not? It's actually 25 students in 48 that income, had the in-school or out-of-school suspensions. Most of those kiddos were one time. Plans for continued improvement for school year 23-24. We will continue with our above interventions. Each school has shared or will share the results with their climate teams and building staffs. Each school has specific plans for increasing SEL and PBIS for next school year. The high school is revamping their advisory as part of their initiative for their SEL and whole school SEL interventions. We are continuing to assess all students' mental health and well-being, and we'll use this year's current baseline data from Aperture to inform our SEL instruction at all tier levels going into next year. I'm going to be talking about specifically what that looks like over our summer months with our administrative staff and again, each climate team at the building level. Professional development team, we have invited people who now with our new professional development model for teachers, Liza and Stephanie were very gracious in helping me and working on this with me together to develop some team professional development opportunities and creating invitations for those opportunities in the area of whole school PBIS and a DEI focus. So we'll hopefully get a couple of district-wide teams together for those if they're not initiatives, they're ongoing.
Can you define the PBIS?
I'm sorry, positive behavioral interventions for school-wide. So it's school-wide. So it's tier 1, all students, is positive.
Okay, I just didn't know that.
No.
Thank you.
And then for ethical values reboot, each school has plans. And I do have some of their plans are already lengthy and detailed. And I personally would love to see a community project to support this too. So if anybody out there anywhere is willing or interested in doing something as a district-wide or a community-wide or ethical values reboot, please email me, contact me, and let's see if we can get something together. So we also have some solution-oriented parent focus groups. We are starting our first parent focus group to review the climate survey and just brainstorm some solutions to move forward. And that offering is going to be for strong parents at Strong on Monday the 12th. So Cheryl has put that invitation out to her parents. And then we have some solution-oriented staff focus groups that are that I've been planning with our, I don't know if Eric is here, but Craig is here with our union presidents. So Erica Fisher is the support staff union president. And as you guys know, Craig Redmini is our fearless leader for our teacher bargaining unit. And Craig and Erica and I have both been in contact and communication as we've been reviewing these results, and looking forward to that continued partnership and collaboration and open lines of communication for, you know, just making this the best district ever, because really that's my goal. And I know it sounds like cheesy when I say that.
Sounds good.
Sorry. And so our principals have already begun planning with their building teams, and again, collaboration with teachers, support staff, and is just so important. And I can't say enough about at how much our staff does for our students in our district, and you guys are amazing. And that goes for our support staff too. You know, this year again has been like none that I've ever seen as a professional. And when you get together with people, other directors from the state or other superintendents from the state or other collaboratives, we're doing really good in terms of our staffing and the amount of dedication and support that they give to our students on a regular basis, and put their heart and soul and personal time into everything they do. We are fortunate enough to be fully staffed. And there is a teacher shortage nationwide. There is a teacher shortage in Connecticut. There is a huge staff shortage in the area, in all special education areas and related service areas. Huge shortage for bus drivers statewide. Significant shortage for paraprofessionals statewide. And we are so fortunate to have been able to keep our staff at almost 100%, and the dedication that they have to our children is remarkable. So we're just really fortunate, in spite of all the hardships that everybody's has. And then finally, for the what's up for next year, I did put in I submitted 3 applications for grant funding for SEL support, and 1 for summer, and 2 different ones for an extra counselor for next year, just to help with some of our initiatives that we really want to drive home for all tiered interventions for SEL. So I have one more slide, and then I'm just going to end with this. I really want to move forward as a district with a growth mindset for improvement. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. We're not perfect. When you look at, we can be great, and we can need to get better and do better. It can be both. And I think it is both. I said, I just, again, in terms of, you don't have to look at right and wrong. You know, we don't have to look at blaming others or pointing fingers or even blaming ourselves for not doing enough. It doesn't have to be right or wrong for individuals or systems to improve or change. We can all be right and grow. and still need to grow. And so for success, I'm really hoping that we can communicate and collaborate and practice our core ethical values at all levels of our district.
Thank you.
Questions?
That was a summary, and you can see how much was in there, which is why I strongly recommend that we consider a special meeting either in June or perhaps in July to just kind of really delve into this and ask more specific questions at this point. Does anyone have any other just
Yeah.
brief questions? Sorry.
Jen, what did you put in there for the board to do?
For the board to do, nothing specifically.
Would you?
And I'd love your support in any way you
Well, I
want.
mean, would you have recommendations for what the board could do in some of these areas? Obviously supporting the teachers and supporting the stuff that we're supposed to do, but there seems to be an ability for us to raise the core ethical values beyond the community. Is not going to happen at the teacher level, but it could happen at the board level. And we could bring in folks from outside to encourage, more help and more parent involvement in how we get things done. We could have focus groups. I mean, there's things that we can do that are not tied to individual teachers or not tied to individual issues, but more of a overall look at, we want this district to be the best it can be. What do we as parents and board members, what can we do to encourage that, where the board could have those meetings and where you probably couldn't, but we could do stuff like that, in the future and raise awareness, at the community level.
Would love that, and I would love to be part of that. And again, it's not to point any fingers. I think that when you're looking at a solution focused and growth mindset, you're looking at what can I do, right? That's where I start when I'm being reflective. What can I do differently? I had the same icon in my Google Drive since we first got them there. What was it, 15 years ago? And I deliberately, I went and hunted down a core ethical values poster, took a picture of it and made that my icon, because I really feel like, and just make an honest effort to be kind and nice, no matter how stressed or panicked I am throughout the day or anything.
Couple of things that we've heard in the past is that everybody should be called by their name.
Yeah.
I think that goes along with core ethical
Yeah,
values
yeah.
and, probably instill that in each of the, faculty to make sure that they are aware that call kids by their name is probably one of the more important things that they can do, and know them. So,
I think there's a lot of little things we can do as, and again, it starts with modeling, modeling the behaviors for myself.
And this is a discussion we can continue when we
Yeah.
have that special meeting, so we can really get more details and more direction. So someone else had a question here.
I can send an email.
I would just like to have a few things, sure, yeah.
Special. So missing so many people.
Yeah, we can do that. We can send out some dates. We don't want to get too far into the summer because then people start going away on vacations.
I'm happy you brought up the issue with the core ethical values. I just want to share something I experienced back in the day in John Lyman and the Friday assemblies they had. And it's a great time, beginning of the school year. Everyone's very attentive. I think that's the best time. But the students were modeling, good core ethical values and then contrasting it with the opposite, something like, oh, I spilled some milk. How do I clean this up? Versus, where's Mr. Jim? Clean this mess up. It was just absolutely fabulous, but it absolutely should start in the early years to promote itself. I thought it was going pretty well, but I wasn't aware, but you have a little red flag up. that we just need to be reminded of all those things.
Most of our people still know it. I just don't know that it's like as every day. It's not every day like it used to be.
Also, you had mentioned the use of a tool called Aperture.
Mhm.
Not sure, I'm a bit familiar with it now. Who's entering all the data for this SEL
The
on each
teachers-
student? That's a huge job.
A huge job. So in the younger grades, it is the classroom teachers, kudos classroom teachers. Just add another thing to their plate.
Well, that's what I was getting at, yeah.
But I think the feedback that we did get from anybody that I got feedback from said it was worth the time. Put it
Yeah.
in. And at the upper grades, it's and secondary, it is advisory. It goes by advisory group.
Mhm. Is there an opportunity for students then to also have their input into that program at the high school level?
So the high school does have another module that is a self-report. We didn't do that this year. It literally just came out as a computerized version toward the end of this year. Maybe March, I think it came out, but so we haven't piloted that yet, but.
But you think it's a valuable tool, and I mean, I do like the perspective of a teacher who might know the student best to perhaps create a better relationship and have some perspective.
Whatever data we get from it, and I mean, the program is also good because it gives you a lot of ready to use strategies and tips and things you can do right away. The thing that I honestly love best about the program isn't even I think it's just the process of having every child in this district being thought about in a mental health capacity by an adult. I just think there's no parallel for that. To have an adult really look at, a student and say, how is Jamie feeling? What's Jamie's behavior been like the past,
I
for
would
the past 6 weeks?
encourage,
Has it been, just to take that 5 minutes and say, hey, let me think about you for a minute.
Sure.
Even though I'm so busy and I have so much to do. I just think it's an important.
I don't know if it'd be appropriate enough, perhaps on a PD day, or we have students' early release, maybe give some time for the teachers to maybe make that happen versus trying to find time to make it happen.
So we did try to be kind, and I think everybody did it, that it was done during PLC time. So there was some time carved out this year for teachers so that they weren't staying.
At
late
what
on their
point do you
own.
think would be most advantageous, like October or something, to start the process?
So the process is supposed to be started September, October, and then again mid-year, and then followed, and
That's
the
3,
last one
okay.
is now. Yes, late May.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Jen, and I thank you very much for your time too. You and I had a separate conversation, and I just want to reiterate that my frustration is more so with the process and what we do with the material. Excuse me, I keep losing my voice. Not at all the person who's the time and the effort and the presentation of it. And the reason why I say that too is just exactly what we were just talking about right now, is that it sounds like there's a lot of plan for the kids from the effort for what to do to help the kids. And one of them specifically is what you're talking about with the SEL is, tapping in this information for each individual child. But with that, we're not thinking of the teachers, because the teachers are the ones that are responsible for making sure and reassuring that these kids are okay. But from what I'm seeing and hearing, the teachers are not okay, and the morale is very low. So, and then I look at the participation, which I think actually is the highest that it's been in a while. And Craig could probably let me know if that's true or not. But I also wondered, and I'd spoken to Lucy about this in our next conversation. I just wondered, and seeing how much time it's taken of yours also. I wondered if we would be more beneficial to have like an outsourced. I don't even know if there's like a company or there's someone who can actually come and take this information and then manipulate it so that it is something that we could do, like what Bob said, like, as a board, these are the areas and what can we do? What can we do to support the staff? What can we do to support the kids?
I think it's important to have the community too, but I think that there's got to be something that is more less time consuming on your part and less subjective, it's for lack of a better word, like it's just a company that's totally impartial to any material and just says, these are your issues and this is what to do. And that's just something I wholeheartedly believe. I believe this is important enough, and I think it's glaringly obvious that this is a huge thing. And like you said, even just going back to the basics of the core ethical values, I was one of those teachers that every year we taught explicitly what those were, and then it was continued through the grades. And I do believe that that's a great start, but I do think that the load on the teachers, it starts with the teachers. And I think if the teachers are feeling the load and the stress, it's just going to trickle down. Like you said, like if you're stressed out and you need to get things done, and it is harder to look at each individual child. So I think it is a trickling.
What you're saying and what Bob said also just points to the fact that that's why we need to sit down and have just a meeting that focuses just on that, so we can really delve into and explore.
And what I'm mentioning is just for the future. I think it's a lot less stress and time on your part.
I can imagine how much time you had to spend putting all this stuff together. Just a report was, I didn't time it, but it was.
I love that idea. I mean,
And my other thing is I don't like the neutral. I don't like the neutral thing. I think that I think we lose a lot of good information by offering that neutral.
Great. So even if we don't go with an outside company or something else, we're definitely going to revamp it. And we have had that conversation at our district climate meetings. It does need to be revamped. It does need to be. So we do need to look at it. So absolutely. And I agree with you with the teachers. Our teachers work really, really hard. And their mental health and well-being is just as important.
Yep.
And I think we're looking at the staff and seeing that workload and seeing how taxed they are. It's very hard to even want to throw on them. You need to make more connections with parents so these parents can help with behaviors. They're already exhausted. So we need to find ways to support the staff to get to that point where they can make those connections. Because if we can reach parents, I think we can work together to reach students.
Which brings us to what Bob said. We need, what can the board do to make that happen?
And how can we support parents? Right? I mean, because parenting right now is not the same as parenting was 10 years ago. So especially with the social media component and all of the things that we're seeing, we are not living in the same world that we were living in 10 years ago. So it's really about supporting each other at every level in all of our stakeholders, parents just as well.
We don't normally allow public comment, but because Craig is here and he's the president of the union, I know he's had his hand up, so I think we're talking about teachers as well.
We've been working very closely together and talking about solutions and possible solutions. And Mr. Moore, your question tonight of what you guys can do. I think a great start to this would be, when you're talking to parents, when you're talking to community members, just ask them, is your comments, is your thoughts representative of our core ethical values? And if you're going to put something on social media, is it representative of our core ethical values? And are you going to be part of the solution or part of the problem? Because we represent, as teachers, we do core ethical values every day with our kids. But the kids go home and see what their parents put on Facebook, what everything is on social media, and who do they follow? The teachers or what their parents and friends do. So if we can all work together and encourage everybody, you guys, our parents, everyone in this community to follow those core ethical values, that's not just a school thing, that's a community thing. That's a community of who we are, who we want to be. So let's put it all together and not just say that's the school's issue, that's our community's issue. I think that's a great place to start.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
Ask not what the district can do for you. Ask what you can do for the district.
Yeah. As you can see, we have.
I need for next thing. So, when it comes to Aperture, are we going to continue with that once it's not free?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, so that's when we're going to be
looking forward to its budget. Okay. So as you can see,
And then
despite
hold on, one
Eric's,
more.
I'm sorry, I thought you were done.
The grants that you applied for next year, do you think they're far-fetched? Do you think we just don't know?
Depends on how many other people apply for them, which I imagine there'll be a lot because they're need-based. And so we're kind of low down on that need-based totem pole, but we'll see. Keep my fingers crossed. I think when you look at us percentage-wise, not, you don't look at us at our 1,300 students. If you look at the percentage of services we're giving to kids, if they look at it that way, I think we certainly qualify. But when you're looking at, the things that the state looks like free and reduced lunch and, academic achievement, we don't score high on those.
Thank you.
Can I ask a
We're
question?
gonna have quite a
What's the
discussion.
Format for the meeting on the 12th. That's not.
So it's just, we're again, Cheryl would put out to her parents, just an invitation to come in and review the strong school climate results with her and I, and then just sit down and talk about, brainstorm solutions of, again, how to work as a community and parents and staff to focus on improvements.
Is there an option for parents or families maybe don't feel comfortable coming to the meeting in person or to kind of?
I don't know how Cheryl put out the invitation, but certainly if somebody, and I had said this to another parent, if they can't make it to the meeting, they can certainly, email us with, concerns or solutions. It's a hard time of year. We just felt like it was important.
I'm not rushing the discussion. I just know that it's almost like you put this before us and we have to, and it's not just gonna be a one meeting thing. It's just gonna be an ongoing process and, but it's some good possibilities and it's very needed. Thank you. We're gonna move on and Lizzie's gonna send out some possible dates where we can sit down and talk about this further. As meeting one, I'll just say meeting one, because there may be subsequent meetings. YMCA before and after school update. Kevin, you've done this before.
Right, yes, I have. So thank you, Lucy. I just wanted to provide the board with a quick update on where we are with the proposed YMCA before and after care program. I think as most folks know, there's been quite a demand for before and after care in the district. It's been some years since the closure of BASREP, which accommodated a lot of our students within a district realm. And we've also noticed a reduction in offerings from other aftercare providers, Dolphin Days and some of the other smaller organizations basically are reducing the services they're providing. One reason is because it's really tough to get staff to man those particular positions within those programs. So assessing this need, we did reach out to the YMCA during the pandemic 2 or 3 years ago, and they were very responsive. And I think one of the goals to reach out to the YMCA during that time was to provide a before and after care program for the children of staff. So staff could attend and do their work here in the district, with the pandemic and with the fact that schools were closed. In that experience, the Y was very responsive and really demonstrated, I think, to us a capacity to establish a before and after care program. So with all those factors in play, I reached out to Michelle Rolnick from the YMCA. She's the executive director in Middletown, just to discuss the possibility of establishing a program for the district, and they were very receptive to that. We asked the Y to develop a survey that we could distribute to parents to get an idea of the level of interest within our school community. And they responded by sending us a very quick type of survey that we distributed to parents in early May. We didn't give parents a lot of time to respond, but we did get a lot of responses, and we got over 100 responses. 50 parents indicated an initial interest in an after-school care program. 54 parents expressed interest in both a before and after school care program. And we had a small number of parents express interest in a before school program only. So that is a pretty sizable mass of parents who are very interested and have demonstrated that interest in before and after care program in the district. So and let me make one other point. This is excluding our incoming kindergarten parents as well. So the survey was sent out in May, even leaving out a significant number of parents that will be in the district next year. So basically, we have a critical mass of parents and support. So we decided to continue moving forward. Our next step in the process was to develop a preliminary site to host the program. And I had spoken with Kim and other administrators regarding the various schools in the district. And we decided that Brewster School would be most appropriate. The reason being, we felt a large percentage of our youngest students wouldn't have to get on a bus and move to a different location. Another very solid reason for selecting Brewster was that several years prior, we had another organization reach out about the possibility of hosting a before and after care program at Brewster. So we had a lot of the specific information that the Y is going to need to apply for a permit to establish this before and after care program. So next step in the process was to have the YMCA representatives come and take a look at Brewster. We did that on May 24th, and I met with Michelle Rolnick and her associate Candace Crane. We toured Brewster School, and their feelings were it would be a very good place to host a before and after care program. We're in a little bit of a time crunch here based on the fact that to move forward, the YMCA will need to apply to the OEC, the Office of Early Childhood, to get an application and to get a permit to host the before and after care program. And basically through Parent Square, we're ending the school year. So we have to inform our parents, provide our parents with the information that they will need to register for the program very, very soon. So we'd like to get that information out this Friday. In the last Friday notices for each of the elementary schools of Brewster, Memorial, and John Lyman. Next step, the Y will have to work very hard to complete their application to, again, the Connecticut Office of Early Childhood. And I just want to say the YMCA also has established before and after care programs in Portland and in Cromwell. And they've had a great deal of experience in Middletown as well. I think they operate multiple establishments in the schools in Middletown. So we're moving forward, and I think we're in a pretty good place as far as providing the service to our parents.
Do they have a cost?
For us to pay for that service, Bob, or for us
to charge?
We discussed that. We're still in a preliminary phase. I think we will charge them a fee that we feel is appropriate, but won't be cost prohibitive. But again, we will charge them for the use of the facilities, primarily Brewster School.
Do they have a cost that they would charge the parents?
Yes, this is definitely going to be
They will need to know that right away.
Yeah, and that will be included in the information we hope to get out on Friday.
I think in the past with regard to cost, it was something that the district would not be supporting at all financially. It would be self-supporting.
Correct. And the Y would administer the entire program, Lucy. So, basically what we're doing is we're providing the facility.
Right.
But again, the Y handles all the facets in terms of running the program.
And if we could be clear on that point, we're not planning on charging them rent.
We are not.
But so we're giving them the space because the service to our community, but they will have to pay for custodial services so that the building is left. The other thing that we would be supporting financially, we want the board to be okay with this, is we would transport kids from Memorial and from Lyman to Brewster and from Brewster in the morning if they're part of that, which Kim has assured us does not really add a whole lot to transportation costs. But I think absent that, it doesn't become a very attractive option for parents, if we had to charge them that on top of that. And again, that goes to the decision of Brewster, where we feel like a large percentage of those that choose, just because of the age and population on that campus. The other thing I'll add to what Kevin said, first of all, I want to thank you, Kevin, because you've done tremendous work in this space. In talking to both Tom and Deb Murray this morning about this, they've also got their own list they've already developed with people that have registered for kindergarten. So they will make sure to get them the survey, so they have opportunities along with the existing families to indicate their interest. And again, we're not running the program. So the Y is going to have to run the program, and we're not collecting any money. We're simply giving the site. And I think that it's been my experience in past districts that this can be a winning combination and really help out families in our community.
We used to have it, was it the BASRAP? Wasn't that the same
Correct.
line of?
That's correct.
Yeah, that used to be at Corn,
Bathroom.
and the buses used to go from the schools and drop them off there. Yeah, it was very successful. I don't know what happened to
Yeah,
it.
and that was a very long-lived
Corn
aftercare
closed.
program.
No, those reps.
Oh, BASRAP, okay.
And it's the YMCA staff that are in the building with the kids.
Correct.
prior. And do they go through like a similar background check as our staff do? Or
Yes,
that
and I
fixed?
think I believe that's part of the OEC process, and, you know, they have their protocols, they have their procedures. They're guided by state statutes, so, you know, those background checks are what they have to do, and they have to follow legal guidelines as well.
The last time we did this during COVID, we didn't have enough people to make it work.
To make it work,
worthwhile, so,
They had a certain number they told us.
Yeah,
that they
right.
wanted
They needed
before
a
it get
certain
started.
number.
yeah, we needed a certain number now,
Yeah.
but we didn't have 100 responses either.
Yeah,
but-
no.
Kids
Well-
with children with needs, like special needs as well.
That's my assumption.
The other thing I would tell you based on my experience is not only do they have a minimum threshold, but they may have a maximum
Right.
that they can serve. So it may be a first come, first served, you know, we hate to turn anyone away, but we still feel like doing for some is better than doing for none.
Kevin, you were confident that they have the ability to staff this, because that's all you hear all the time is these things are very difficult to find.
You know, in meeting with Michelle.
What are they gonna do, a split shift?
Yeah, they didn't express concerns about that. One thing they did want to do is to reach out to parents in the district to see if they would be interested in serving as employees of the before and after care program, but they didn't see that as a huge issue. So
Also, the last time we tried this was before COVID, was there was concern that private groups
Right.
like Open Days and others would be hurt by us doing it because we were cheaper or whatever. So I don't know if that'll come up again, but Open Days was full. And in the past, we asked Open Days to do it and they couldn't meet our demand either because they were completely full. So I don't know if this will change anything, but that was an issue that we had to deal with the last time, and it caused us to reject the proposal.
Right. But they were reached out to again, and they're not able to accommodate it, so.
Well, we also
They
asked
won't-
Open Days to do it last time too.
We did, yes,
They
yeah,
said they would do it, but they didn't have enough.
they didn't have enough, yeah.
Yep.
Well, keep us updated on what's going on.
thank
It's
you.
nice to get that timeline, but keep us updated.
It's only been 5 years.
Thank you, and thank you again. Maybe it will happen this time, and we'll have to do it
keep our
again.
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully parents respond well.
So now we're gonna go to committee reports, our policy committee meeting. We're gonna start with the second read and a possible vote on the series 2000 policies.
Right, we did go over these the last May 17th, I'll do a really quick update. Administrative representative delivery group, we're deleting. Job descriptions have merged into 4,000 series. Administrative leeway, we're keeping, it's okay. Administrative lines of responsibility is deleted, it's covered in contracts. Administrative staff organization, 100 is going to be moved to 4,100. For a staffing issue, concept and roles administration is delete, that was kind of just a generic thing.
I can't
Emergency,
hear you, Bob. I'm
Huh?
sorry, I can't hear you.
emergencies and disaster preparedness, is moved to 3,400. Policy book is moved to series 9,000. Retention of electronic records, information, I, J, and K are moved to the shipment safety and security plan under item 3,000, which we'll talk about later. And superintendent 2131 is moved to 9,000. Uniform treatment of recruiters is moved to 5,000 under shipment proposal. So remaining in series 2000 is item C. Everything else has disappeared or moved. So if everybody's all set with the second read, you can read each one of these policies if you like, but we've already read them. We have a motion to approve the changes.
As you have just stated.
So moved.
Second.
So Lindsay and Jamie, any discussion? Okay, we'll have a roll call vote. We still have Linda on. Linda?
Aye.
Lindsay Dahlheimer, aye.
More aye.
Lucy Bella, aye.
Jamie Rohrbach, aye.
Mariah Roy, aye.
And we have no one here.
And she just stepped out.
We'll put more under an abstention because she's not here right at the moment. Okay, motion has passed for the 200 series, 2000 series, sorry. We're going to go to a first read of series the 3000 policies. And Bob will go over those,
Okay,
the whole line of them.
first one is accident prevention and reporting. Is going to be replaced with the shipment proposal, which is basically the same but more detailed. The item B, I can stop whenever you have questions.
Okay.
Item B, authorized use of school-owned materials, that is staying the same. Board budget procedures and line item transfers. And budget fiscal year 3150 have been moved to shipment proposal, which is included. And it's just more detail and more consistent with our current budget process. Item E, the formulation of the tentative budget. This says we'll provide it in March, and we propose to keep that the way it is. Item F is an F and G and H. Budget setting priorities, budget procedures and line item transfers, and budget report 34/20/32 have been moved to a shipment policy, which is really how we're handling our budget priorities and budget issues as we were doing it now. So they'll all be converted into one. Item I, capital assets, is it just sets the value of all the capital projects and their age and values. We're keeping that the way it is. J, code of conduct for federal procurement. This is a shipment proposal. It's new, so it'll be added on this 30,000 series. And we'll be giving it a number. But we don't have the federal procurement procedures in our current ones, and this just adds it for all of our federal contracts. Item K, contracts 3324, we're deleting as covered in many other places. Copies of item L, copies of records 3250, we're keeping that as it is. Item M, disposal of obsolete materials or surplus equipment and materials. We're replacing that with the shipment version, which is newer, and it will be probably the same number. Food services, 3452. We're deleting that. We have a whole section of food services and other places.
That's 3542.
3542, excuse me. Gifts and memorials, gifts, item O, item P are replaced with a shipment proposal on gifts, grants, and requests to the district. It puts them both together in a new language. Hazardous materials, 3524.1, it's changed the name to integrated pest management. Because that's what it's about. It's how, how we spray schools, and I would notice people ahead of time that the school is going to be loaded with pesticides that day. We had destruction of records. We've asked not to put a hold on that. We were waiting for some information for shipment on destruction of records to get that more precise. I don't know if we got that, Kim.
I, to tell you the truth, I thought we had done that, but
All right, well, all right, let me see. Oh, I see. We're gonna add that. We're gonna add that
Yeah.
requirement for shipment, sorry. So we're gonna put that's a destruction of records. We're gonna add a new shipment version. That will be a brand new one. The other one is idea fiscal compliance. It's brand new as well, shipment, and it's individuals with disabilities, and that's the rest of it. Idea. Come on.
Individual Disability Education Act.
No,
Many
remind
acronyms,
everyone.
it's okay.
I believe all of these are in the shared folder.
Yeah, they're all.
Yeah, so that you can look at
This
them.
is new. So that would be added as a new one. T is insurance. This is plan for deletion. We have insurance of all kinds of things. Monies and U is monies in school buildings, 3450. We're keeping that. How we handle money that's coming in and out. Naming in schools and school facilities, that was amended to only include if naming a school if you're dead, and that was about the major change in that. There were some minor changes to that, but mostly that change. Paying for goods and service, 3322 was
3326.
26 was amended. Remember, Kim?
there was just some minor changes in
Yeah,
terms
it's
of,
just some
yeah,
changes that
just
you
some
had proposed.
housekeeping.
Yeah. Payroll procedures 3326.1 was recommended for deleted. It's not consistent with how we're doing it. And why purchasing shipment, purchasing and purchasing procedures 3320 were added and amended also as well, and they were added as new shipment proposals. They're updated their current purchasing requirements and replace them. AA requesting goods and services 3321 was also amended with some minor changes in language about prices and things. Item BB safety 3516 is being replaced under EE security and safety plan, along with FF security of buildings and grounds. And so those, and also, so those three are going to be replaced by a version of shipment on safety and security. Sales, so that's BB, EE, and FF, yeah. Item CC, sales and disposal of books and equipment materials, is also replaced by a shipment proposal. and also related to M. They're all connected under M as well. So that was merged to the disposal of obsolete equipment, and sales of books. And the student activities, counts 3451 was replaced, with this name as DD. The school activity funds DD is new, and we're getting rid of the school activity fund. The GG is being replaced by the school activity fund DD as a new one. And finally, tuition fee 3240 is being moved to 5118. The actual language deleted, but it'll be covered by the new language in 5118. So it took a long time. I thank Kim for a great effort and trying to go through all the language here to make sure everything that's covered and everything's up to date in our current processes. So this would be the first read. If we have a motion to move it forward for a second read, I guess. I'm not sure we need a motion or just.
No, I think we've just,
Consensus?
yeah, we put it back on the agenda. That's just the way the process runs. First, second read and a vote for our next, our next meeting in July.
So thank you all.
So, yeah, if you take a look at them on the shared folder, if you haven't, or if you have any other questions.
The folder also shows the recommendations.
Say that again.
In the folder, it shows the recommendations.
Oh, the recommendations, right. Okay, item B, Student Achievement Committee meeting report for May 24. Wait a minute. Yes, start.
You want me to start there?
Sure.
Okay, so we had a very extensive student achievement meeting, with a lot of really great things. We went over the NEASC accreditation. The administration suggested pivoting from a high school only accreditation for the district level accreditation. We've added it to the July board meeting to hear from Fran, who's our NEASC rep, and ask any questions so that we can evaluate that. Some new courses at Coggins. In the fall, AP Calculus, Music in Our Lives, Music Exploration, Piano, and Music in Theater. Daily schedule change to allow students at Coggins the ability to get out for more internships and job shadows. Some electives on a quarterly basis in hopes of eliminating study halls include intro to foods and advanced foods. Hold on, it's frozen on me. Okay. Capstone went over the capstone projects for this year. It was a really great success. I know a lot of us were there, going through the presentations as we talked about earlier.
Everything's going to be started sooner as well.
Yep.
I think it's your junior year. Yeah.
The strong elective update, Mrs. Gonzalez reviewed that they gave elective options to all incoming 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And there's enough seats in the classes. You noted 99.9% of the students got into their first choice. And they will be evaluating it as this is the first
It's
time.
quite refreshing to see the sort of breadth of it. There's something for everybody, and that's really interesting. It's, you can't just funnel them into two things. I love the videography part of it. That's such an engaging thing to get people involved. School beautification is one of those ones as well. That's awesome.
And she did say that more stayed in study hall than she had expected, but she thinks as these electives start blooming and they start seeing projects coming out of them, that more of the kids will want to jump into the electives. The EL education update. We've been working diligently on PD for the EL education program. Maybe can I continue on that one?
EL?
Yeah.
Maura, that's
Me?
You
I
were
thought-
at that meeting,
I was.
You
I
weren't
was
at
like
that,
on
no.
remote,
Yeah, we just went over the PD for it.
Yeah.
but your main concern was, are we easing into this just right, not too much of a burden?
Yeah, but that
we're
was not, I
approaching it.
mean, I think you guys shared that, and you guys can jump
Yeah.
in too, but you guys
Yeah,
had
okay.
shared that there was a glitch with. And do you know, like, were you able to find the PD for, that was the part I could hear, because I was remote for that meeting.
No, it
No, it
was
was the last one.
Renee, yeah, no, I did speak. We did have a massive technology error with Better Lessons, who's the company that provided the PD. And we are getting some money back because not only of the technology issues that we have, but also the fact that our K-2 teachers did not receive the PD that was discussed between myself and the rep. So they are honoring that, and we have gotten a lot of other resources from them, which we've already made available to the teachers. Recently, we've actually had a couple of our teachers and coaches speak with some of the kindergarten teachers in Guilford, just to kind of help them understand how to start the year off and how to get their rooms ready, and just to answer some of the questions that have been on their minds about just like the overall setup of things. And then we do have some PD that is already planned for August when we return. So we're continuing that.
Under summer enrichment grants, we were notified that there had been over 300 applications for a grant. The district did not receive that grant. So Liza's is looking for some enrichment opportunities for after the school next year, and she'll also like to have an enrichment program possibly for next summer. We did have a lengthy discussion on the one-track model, which I do believe is going to be on our July meeting. Okay.
Yes.
Yep. So we'll revisit that in the July meeting, as a full board. I think that's all I have right now. Do you want to add anything? Nope. We also, yeah, as I said, we're gonna revisit the ask at next meeting as well.
Okay, building committee,
Building committee met
this night.
tonight. Pardon?
It always happens that way.
The contract for the first part of Picket Lane paving, it will be started shortly. Right now, the tentative start date is July 17th. There might be some change with that, but contracts are being signed. I guess you have the contract already, so that'll be issued in a purchase order as soon as the fiscal year starts. And we will then get a final date, making sure the 17th will be closed for 5 days. So Monday through Friday. So we'll need to do a special effort in making sure everybody knows that Picket Lane will be closed to vehicle traffic. So it'll be interesting, and I'm sure we'll get a lot of comments. Also had a proposal for paving. It gets 2 inches paving over the surface. That can be done without road closure, just lane closures. And that will get that in before school starts. And the total cost is under
700.
700 something thousand.
Between 4 and 5.
Huh?
I'm estimating between 400,000 and 500,000 for both of those.
So we have money from the carryover of Picket Lane, and you're well within the budget for what we budgeted, so. We'll probably need the money left to do some road improvements and drainage perhaps. Good. The other is the field house. We're waiting for building permits and final plans. There are some technical issues related to the slab and the attachment of the building to the slab, and so that's been corrected, and so that probably will be done also by the end of the summer. There's some building permits and other planning and zoning issues that are being addressed, but that will also hopefully be there before school starts. in terms of, related, the money for internal workings at the building, like bathrooms and stuff, is in the bond package, for the state. And we should know about that by Monday, I think, if the bond package is passed.
To
And
cover the
finally,
cost,
huh?
to cover the cost.
Yeah, well, we don't have any plans for what we're doing yet, so. The other one is, Kim is meeting on Memorial School, is meeting with trustee Malik from our architect to review some options and changes in the school system and give us a report and do some public outreach on what's going on. And you've met with the Board of Ed, and they're still concerned about the regionalization change and whether or not we have to make an amendment to that. We haven't got that answer yet. Okay. So that's what the building committee did tonight.
Lots happening, and I believe their meeting was approximately 40 minutes. It's
Yeah.
like amazing what gets accomplished. Okay, the next item is the discussion on the elementary school choice. Before we
Hold on.
ACE.
I had actually, hold on. Well, yeah, it's the ACES update first. I'd like to table the ACES update until the July meeting, just because my computer just died.
No,
okay.
Okay,
So, but I'd also, I would like to table the elementary school choice discussion until the July meeting when our full board is here.
Sure.
Okay, we're okay with that?
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, item number 10 is communications. All the communication that I've received has also been sent to all the board members. So I don't have anything. Does anyone else have anything else that?
I've been to a lot of the award ceremonies, and I've got a lot of congratulations to a lot of the students, a lot of the teachers. Before the teachers leave, and once thank you for your efforts this year, and the school year's over, you should know. And but anyway, I've been at a lot of the events, and I think the end of the year has been really successful. I think there's been lots of it seems back to pretty much normal from past years, and I think all the events have been well attended, and the concerts and his final games and stuff have all been really well attended, and I think shows great effort on part of the faculty to move these things and get them done.
Agreed.
I had the privilege of attending the award ceremony here last Friday. And I was very impressed with every kid's name that was called. It seemed like a large percentage of the students were truly just like, not just, didn't hear anything negative. It was very, very nice to see indeed. There is a community here.
In addition to
start to
the
come back out.
awards, in the younger grades, I also was able to go to, again, the, Brewster Art Show and the Dance Festival, which, again, what can we say about Ruth and Alan Schulenberg, another fabulous job. And it was so great to see the teachers just out there and involved, and have to, of course, shout out to my old colleague, Alex Edwards, was a partner with one of the students. I guess they didn't, like that always happens every year where they have an odd number, and he was right out there and did every single dance. So, it was great to see again. I haven't seen it in a couple
Yeah,
years.
trouble ducking.
Did he?
Alan singing a cappella.
Oh, Alan, I know. My husband was like, how does he do that? Like with everybody here, they just sounded perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, the art shows were amazing.
Art show, yeah.
Three of them, and it was nice to see, I believe it was at Memorial. Is it Memorial? That they're bringing in sewing.
Yes, I saw
One of the activities
Yeah.
was sewing, and she's thinking about next year, maybe doing some quilting and stuff. I mean, it's
Great
a
to
lost
see.
art, and
There were some girls with like their skirts on that they actually
Yes,
made. It
yep.
was really impressive.
Yeah.
If you've watched anything Diane Walsh has been doing this year, but in her class, the boys are sewing, and they had to bring in extra sewing machines. And the boys were making shorts and other things, and so it's been interesting to watch the art form that has kind of left, but
Yeah.
they're bringing it back, and it's interesting that the boys were doing it as well.
It was nice to see all the
Yeah.
stuff that came out of strong with the eighth grade, a select group of eighth graders went down with the cornhole that they had made and all different, games for all the seniors, and they played with all the seniors, and it was,
Yeah.
and I can't even tell you that the seniors were beyond thrilled to be down at the community center playing with all these kids. So,
It's nice to see that our culture does not embrace, certain activities for certain people. I took quite a risk in sixth grade, taking up an interest in making apple pie and home ec class.
yeah.
And you went.
It was a risk.
But I think they were just
That is
excited
wonder.
as the kids were, and
Culinary arts is probably our prime course here.
I think you have to bring that apple pie.
Yeah, to make one. for us.
Yeah.
We did.
So thank you, Doug. Thank you, faculty, and
Yep.
it was turned out to be a pretty great year.
Last item is public comment. Do we have anyone here that would like to speak?
or anyone online too. There's no one online.
No one online? Okay,
Motion to adjourn.
before you do that, don't forget to take some food on the way out, and, yes, motion to adjourn, Lindsay. And second, anyone?
I'll second.
One second by Maura, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, I know, we didn't have to do the visual. Thank you, and it is, 8:10. Lot accomplished. Yeah.
That's, no, I think.
Yeah, that's actually